Hi, listeners, and welcome back to Why Walking Matters, the Science Explained. The concept of mindful walking is not one that I've heard widely discussed. That's why the excerpt from this week's book intrigued me as I researched topics for the podcast. In this episode, I read an excerpt focused on the practice of mindful walking, learning how to slow down, tune in, and fully experience each step. We explore how mindful walking can reduce stress, improve focus, and deepen your connection with your body and surroundings. Whether you're walking for relaxation, clarity, or emotional balance, this gentle guide invites you to turn an ordinary walk into a grounding, restorative movement. This is an excerpt from 5-Minute Mindfulness Walking, Essays and Exercises for Mindfully Moving Through the World by Douglas Baker. Introduction. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a state of mind. It's about noticing your thoughts and actions in a non-judgmental, open way as they happen so that you don't get lost in distractions, reactions, or worries. In mindfulness, you use the mind's natural capacity to be attentive, non-reactive, and relaxed. You then connect to what's actually important inside and around you. It's an intelligence we all have, but often don't use. Mindfulness is typically accessed through meditation. From this open, focused mind state, we more clearly distinguish right actions from fruitless struggle. We get clearer about when we're trying to control things we can't possibly control, and better at perceiving our inner reactions before they become regrettable outward actions. We begin to see how much of our stress is created inside the mind, and we start to experience a stillness of mind and body that doesn't require the glass of wine, medication, or hour of massage. With a little persistence and patience, a kind of balance and nobility is glimpsed in the mind. Mindfulness is a way of using the mind so the mind doesn't use you. Mindfulness is sometimes falsely equated with being passive and disconnected. Not so. It's not about becoming checked out, dreamily floating on a cloud. Mindfulness is a way of being present, focused, and skillful with what's happening in your life, with less struggle. It's an empowering tool for people living active, engaged lives. It helps us to act more efficiently, waste less energy in mind made dramas, and orient to what's real. The truth will support us, a teacher of mine once said. A fantasy will not. Mindfulness helps us find what's true. And perhaps best of all, It's free, organic, and locally produced. It's right under your nose or in the sole of your foot. It's always there to tap into, no matter where you find yourself. It's not a magic cure, but it's a simple, cumulative method of orienting differently toward life and life's challenges. How mindfulness works. Mindfulness happens in switching the mind from busy thinking and planning mode to simple observing mode. You can start by directing your attention to a neutral object or process, like your breathing or the movement of your feet. You then do your best to observe the flow of sensations as you breathe or walk, which is different from thinking about it. You simply notice. Then, before you know it, you'll probably find you're thinking again. No problem. Just turn back to observing the breath or the feet. You do this again and again in a relaxed, unhurried, non perfectionistic way, simply returning to observing. Why the emphasis on this odd state of non thinking? The thinking mode can dominate our waking hours in unhelpful ways. We get caught up in pointless thoughts about the past, worries about the future, imaginary conversations in which we brilliantly tell the boss how it really is, all distracting us from being present for what's happening in any moment. Thoughts drive our moods and emotions, and anxious thoughts produce anxious body states, increasing muscle tension, heart rate, and blood pressure. Through mindfulness, we observe our thoughts and gain a clearer awareness of our thought patterns, which can unhook us from detrimental habits. Mindfulness helps us simply to feel what life brings our way, take a breath, and then decide on a course of action. This is a major step toward mental and emotional well being. Benefits of mindfulness. According to the American Psychiatric Association, research has reliably established links between mindfulness practice and the following benefits: lower rates of anxiety and depression, boosts in working memory and improved focus and attention, reduced emotional volatility, increased cognitive flexibility and information processing speed, enhanced self insight, morality, intuition, and fear modulation, increased immune functioning, increased empathy and compassion, and improved relationship satisfaction. Chapter 1: Walking as Meditation. Mindfulness is often symbolized by a Buddha statue, someone seated in deep concentration. The image is a wonderful reminder of mindfulness, but we could say there's also a curse of the Buddha statue. It implies that real meditation happens only when seated. Mindfulness, however, is a state of mind. It's not about a particular position. Walking meditation cultivates mindfulness in the flow of movement and sensation. We just notice what happens without judging, planning, or any other thinking. We zero in to carefully observe the sensations that naturally happen in stepping. No special walking technique, we just step. What's special is the mind. a focused, relaxed awareness, receiving the experience in moment to moment bits, like watching the frames of a video in slow motion. We become extraordinarily clear and attentive. Busy mind fades into the background. In each step, closely observed, mindfulness is happening. It's that simple. Mindfulness in walking. Most of the time, we are lost in thought, in a mental world of opinions, memories, dreams, and schemes. There's nothing necessarily wrong with being carried away by the stream of thoughts. Walking along the beach in summer, we can enjoy a reverie about last year's trip or what we'd like for dinner. Meditators allow themselves plenty of guilt-free daydreaming. The mindfulness authorities don't come and write a citation. But if our only mode of mind is thinking, we may not be entirely present in our actual life. We're in a kind of virtual reality. It relates to real life, but it's one step removed. It exists in the mind. Thoughts about life are not life. Thoughts about your cat are not your cat. Our feet are on the ground, but we're not mentally grounded. Mindfulness is a way to stabilize the mind in what's real, and mindful walking allows us to create the stability of mindfulness in virtually any setting. We use sensations, sounds, and sights to ground the mind. Once grounded, we can notice beauty, attune to those we care about, and make skillful decisions. Through using walking as meditation, we begin to connect our mental world with our physical. The mind and body affect each other in so many ways, and the practice of mindful walking invites them into a working relationship. Mind meet body, body say hello to mind. Oftentimes, they're barely acquainted, even though they're living under the same roof. Use the body to anchor the mind to the present moment, to what's real and what's important. Once introduced, they can begin to collaborate. Mindful walking uses the body to better know and understand the mind, and the mind to better know and understand the body. We can then create what's called mindfulness in the body, the best of both worlds. Through our practice, we begin to sense an order, intelligence, and mind body cohesion inside. With each mindful step, we reinforce this harmony. Take 5. Focusing on contact with the ground. Find a place to stand where you can close your eyes for a minute or two. If necessary, leave your eyes open but defocus them, looking at a space on the floor about 10 feet in front of you. Investigate. Where are sensations strongest in your body? Probably the bottom of the feet. Take 30 seconds to notice, in good detail, what you feel there. Tingling, pressure, warmth. Simply take in your impressions. Mindfulness has begun. Now we'll start with a single step. Slowly, ridiculously slowly. Begin to lift one foot as if it's glued to the floor, and you must gradually peel it off and notice the sensations. Notice rolling onto the ball of the foot, the feeling of lifting. Do it slowly. Remember the astronaut first stepping off the ladder onto the moon? Like that. Observe the feeling of your foot moving through space, and then contact. Check out those sensations as your foot comes back to terra firma. Congratulate yourself profusely. You've taken your first mindful walk. The mindfulness paradox. As you practiced, you may have noticed a little unauthorized thinking. Don't curse yourself as incapable of even minding one step. Wandering mind is the pattern you've cultivated your entire life. Why would we expect the mind not to wander now? Mindfulness happens when we focus on sensations, but also when we notice the attention wandering and the mind thinking. It's all equally good mindfulness. Whatever you notice, foot, movement, or brazen thinking, mindfulness is there. We see that there's a paradox in mindfulness. We intend just to notice, and we accept that thinking happens. Find a way to love that paradox, or you will suffer. Our goal is not to stamp out thinking. When you notice thinking, just smile. Simple movements simplify the mind. The human thought process has been compared to a waterfall, an endless flow of thoughts. Often, we're carried off in those waters without a paddle. You start off thinking about what to make for dinner, and you end up reliving a trip to the Grand Canyon. You wonder, how on earth did I get here? This happens through the associative nature of the mind. Our minds are great at associating one thing with another. This is what allows children to learn that ice is cold. The child associates one thing, ice, with the sensation of feeling cold. It is the foundation of learning, and it is very helpful. I have been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. Mark Twain. Except associations can sweep us away so that we find we can't stop thinking or worrying about something, or we needlessly imagine future disasters. We're dragged behind the randomly associating mind, in the words of the poet Hafiz, like a broken man behind a farting camel. Being mindful of simple movements helps us to climb out of the cascading thoughts. It simplifies the mind, one action at a time. When overstimulated, we guide our attention purely to simple movement, picking up a teacup or taking a few steps. Out of the random associations pinging around the mind, we drop into a state of simplicity. My foot is stepping. That's all I'm aware of. And then notice, did the mind get quieter? Just for a moment? The busy mind is like the surface of a lake on a stormy day, waves churning restlessly. When we bring attention down into the simple movements of the body, it is like diving beneath the stormy surface of the water. There's still movement at the depth, but it's slower, simpler. If we pay attention, we experience the mind growing quiet. Awareness plus simple movements equals simplified mind. Take 5. trying different walking speeds. Find a place to start where you have a clear path ahead for 30 to 60 feet. Stand with your feet about hip width apart and slightly unlock the knees, noticing the leg muscles gripping to keep the legs upright. Staying attentive, begin to walk forward at your normal pace, noticing what you feel in the body. Walk to the end of your path and back. Pause for a brief assessment. How much sensation were you able to receive at that speed? It may have been a bit of a blur. Now walk the same path again, quite a bit slower, roughly half your normal rate. Observe the sensations at this speed. Can you better perceive the components of walking, landing, shifting, lifting? Now, begin to walk at a speed so slow, think molasses crawling out of a jar, that you can stay tuned to the details of soles of feet, leg muscles, and knees. When you're done, assess which rate of speed helps you stay most focused. This is a good start for getting to know how mindfulness works for you in walking. Sometimes we move too fast to notice what's actually happening in our life. Take 5. Labeling sensations with one word. This simple practice is a great way to connect the mind and body. Begin by standing still, with your eyes closed if it is practical to do so. Bring your attention to the feelings of the body. In your mind, silently label the sensations you notice. Boil it down to one word per sensation. Don't obsess over the right word. Many sensations are complex, but for simplicity of mind, choose just one. Where you feel socks around feet, the word could be contact. Where you feel your sweater around your shoulders, the word might be warm or soft. Gradually lean into a first step and begin to walk, stepping slowly. Label each sensation and now label actions too. As perception sharpens, we see there are a lot of actions in the simplest walk. A foot is lifting, moving, then contacting. A knee is bending, gripping, and stretching. Allow your awareness to wander through the body, noticing the action of the arms swinging, the air on the skin, the facial muscles forming an expression. There's far more going on in any one moment than we generally notice, because we're often not actually with the body when we walk. We're somewhere else, at least in the mind. He lived at little distance from his body. James Joyce, Dubliners, 1914. Chapter 2, Walking to Settle the Mind. Mindful walking takes a most ordinary activity and uses it to cultivate a state of mind that's extraordinarily beneficial. As we meditate on walking, there's a dissolving of unhelpful habits of the mind, worrying, judging, regretting, and drifting into unhelpful fantasies all begin to fall away. That's the first benefit. Then mindfulness nurtures a gradual, steady transformation. Something new arises, beneficial mind habits. You begin to cultivate concentration, focus, and clarity. You grow an ability to notice without jumping to conclusions or judgments. Undistracted attention becomes more available. You experience more control of the mind. You gradually turn the mind into a reliable, steady ally from the easily distracted, drunken sailor mind many of us struggle with. Mindful walking is training for the mind. The mind begins to follow the intelligence and logic of the body's movement patterns. The mind's patterns take on the qualities of walking: steady, controlled, linear, and balanced. The body has no opinion. In mindful walking, we feel the body without forming an opinion on it. We simply experience the body as it is. We refrain from adding opinions like, I look weird, or I'm strong. This is the practice of non judgment, noticing without a liking or not liking position. You can like things on Facebook, but that's not our intention here. It's not that opinions are evil. Sometimes we need opinions. Is it safe to cross the street right now? We need an opinion. Has this fish been in the fridge too long? Opinion, please. Our goal is balance, to have opinions when they're helpful and to be free of opinions when they're not helpful, when they're just added mind chatter. This is in recognition that our opinions often create mental suffering. If we look in the mirror and think to ourselves, I look so old, we're judging ourselves on something we can't do anything about. The aging process, not helpful, causes suffering. All we want are the facts, ma'am. Joe Friday, Dragnet. With mindful walking, we scrub the mind, temporarily, of opinions. Our intention is to nurture pure awareness of the body in motion. We can then apply this no opinion approach in life situations where an opinion doesn't help. Of course, it's the nature of the mind to think. It secretes thoughts the way the heart pumps blood. We can't stop it thinking. For this reason, we use thoughts simply to label our experience without judging. As we step and notice the pressure on the foot, we think pressure. As we lift the foot to take a step, we simply think lifting, not good lifting or I love this lifting, just lifting. Letting mindfulness come and go as you step. Mindfulness is not a permanent state. In fact, it's not even really a thing. It's a process of paying attention. We don't have to stress about losing it like a wallet. It's more accurate to say that we go into it and go out of it. When we go out, we know we'll be back. The last thing you want to do is obsess about your mindfulness practice, holding on with a death grip. We just relax, walk, and notice what's happening. Like a good parent, be somewhat permissive with your mind, but not neglectful. As you walk, allow your awareness to behave like the adolescent it is, constantly changing its mind about what's cool. Don't fight its tendency to be unpredictable and continuously shifting focus. For example, one moment you'll walk and make a good effort to focus on stepping or on the colors of a garden you're passing. The mind zeroes in, absorbed and concentrated. Your Mr. or Miss Zen mind. You can't believe how focused you are. Not a thought in sight. Then suddenly you realize you're thinking about how mindful you are. You've lost it just when you thought you were enlightened. But the moment you notice you're thinking and planning, you're mindful again. You remember that you're walking, and each step settles the mind. Easy come, easy go, and easy come back. Adopt a non discriminatory mindfulness policy. Whether you're observing walking movements, sensations, sounds, colors, or your own self impressed thoughts, mindfulness is there. Sure, mindfulness without thoughts is, in theory, more pure, but that's mindfulness on an Olympic level. For most people, the practice is perfectly imperfect. It's kind of a revolving door, and you notice going in and out of mindfulness. You keep the door unlocked. When you step out, it's like you've hung your sign on the door, back in a few minutes. Take 5. Taking the puppy, parentheses, mind, for a walk. Let's take the puppy for a walk. Imagine that you are a puppy trainer and your wandering mind is a puppy. The practice is to walk with this puppy, allowing it some leash to wander, parentheses, think, and then to patiently lead it back, placing your attention back on walking. Find a place to walk where your path is clear and you won't be in anyone's way. This could be anywhere, at a transit station, while you wait for a bus or train, in a park, or in your home. Pause and gather your contingent. You, attentive mind and dog walker. Your puppy, your wandering mind. Your body, a flat space to walk. Set out your intention to focus on the body, its movements, and contact with the surface you're walking on. Add the intention to notice when your puppy mind tries to run free. Begin to step slowly, focusing on movements and contact with the surface of the floor. Focus on these details as you move. This is mindfulness in the body. Stay attentive for the golden moment. When you've noticed that the puppy has bolted, you're thinking about something else. This is golden because it's very helpful. Mindfulness has perceived the thinking mind running away. The mind is observing itself, a high and highly valuable state of consciousness. Don't judge it as a failure. See the victory. It's another paradox of mindfulness. We take the failure to stay focused and make it a success. We've successfully noticed what the mind is doing, wandering. No dog trainer can prevent a puppy from bolting. They can only train it to come back by reeling in the leash. No one can fully prevent the mind from wandering. We can only notice and bring it back patiently. Walk, notice, reel in the puppy mind, give yourself a friendly pat. Good dog. Your brain on mindfulness. Mindfulness has many observable benefits for the brain, the organ that is home to the mind. MRI scans allow researchers to monitor brain activity and track the brain's responses to mindfulness. Research has shown that mindfulness helps train the brain to be happier. Certain parts of the brain are active during times of negative and positive moods. The left side of the prefrontal cortex, PFC, is associated with optimistic and energized moods. The right side is more active when we're depressed and anxious. A 2003 study at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, which investigated the effects of mindfulness practice on these regions, showed a significant increase in left side PFC activity in participants who had taken an 8-week meditation program when assessed 4 months later. Increases resilience. Practicing mindfulness has been shown to condition the brain for resilience, the ability to respond well to change, challenges, and stress, and return to steady baseline functioning quickly. In 2015, a team led by neuroscientist Yi Yuan Tang found that a group given just 2.5 hours mindful meditation practice showed increased activity in the part of the prefrontal cortex associated with self-regulation and learning from past experiences. They were also less distractible compared to a group given relaxation training. Changes the brain's stress center. Mindfulness practice is associated with helpful changes in the part of the brain that plays a key role in depression, anxiety, and aggression, the amygdala. A healthy amygdala increases the brain's ability to respond to difficulties with less reactivity. A 2015 study at the University of Pittsburgh Center for Neuroscience showed a connection between mindful meditation training and healthier, less reactive amygdala responses. Can change brain structures in 8 weeks. A group of Harvard neuroscientists found in 2011 that just 8 weeks of meditation practice can positively affect physical structures in your brain. They recorded startling changes in the regions of participants' brains involved in learning, memory, emotion regulation, sense of self, empathy, and stress. Wise walking, easy on ourselves. The human mind has the capacity to create many things. Unfortunately, one of them is stress. One way we do this is through a pattern of thinking using the comparing mind, when we relentlessly evaluate ourselves against others. We often don't even realize we're doing it. It's a repetitive narrative we could title Further Reflections on How I Measure Up and Mostly Don't by Me. As you walk down the street, you pass someone who you judge as having it together. Look at that fellow. I'll bet his career is really on fire. Me, I just haven't made much of myself. A moment ago, you felt fine. Now, nothing about you has changed, except the comparing mind has kicked in, altering self-perception. Unpleasant emotion comes with the thoughts, which further convinces you the judgments are valid. We think it and feel it, so it must be true. To reduce self-judgment, make it a regular practice to notice what you're thinking about as you walk. If you perceive thoughts comparing yourself to other people, ask yourself, are these thoughts helpful? Are they adding something constructive? Take 5. Helpful comparing. When gripped by unhelpful comparing, use mindful walking to disrupt the thought pattern. Bring attention to the details and sensations of walking, and the mind will shift. Now you're just noticing. Each step is not better or worse than any other. It's just a step. This step. As you continue to notice your movements with mindfulness, you may begin to feel better, a little lighter, mentally and emotionally. The mental spotlight of self scrutiny has been turned down a few thousand kilowatts. As you continue on a walk, compare how you feel walking mindfully to how it felt in the comparing mind. That's a helpful comparison. In mindfulness, it's called noticing cause and effect, or how things work. It's also called cultivating wisdom. I hope you enjoyed the excerpts from this book. I definitely enjoyed sharing the concept of mindful walking with you. Until next time, listeners, remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend. Happy walking!